Annyeonghaseyo, this is meowmurai. Let's continue our game. Tsukihime, a piece of blue glass moon, running on Nintendo Switch 2.
はい、お待ち申し上げておりました。
The doors swing open with surprising ease for their size. I narrow my eyes at the waning afternoon light streaming through the windows. I had meant to prepare myself for the sight, but my breath catches as I look over the gigantic lobby. What astonishingly beautiful architecture. It feels like I have traveled to a different country in a different time. The look of the mansion is so old-fashioned, even the very air itself seems foreign. Even so, the lobby still feels familiar. I find myself frozen as the girl who answered the door stands before me, dressed in traditional attire.
よかった。あんまりにも遅いものですから、お迷いになられているのではと心配していたんですよ。日が落ちてもいらっしゃらないようでしたら、こちらからお迎えに向かうところでした。
The girl, wearing an apron over her kimono, smiles brightly.
いや、
I find myself speechless at this unexpected welcome. I was expecting the stony-faced man who served as my father's assistant and butler to be the one to greet me. The girl tilts her head, likely wondering at the reason for my hesitance.
四季様ですよね。
はい。様っていうのは、余計だけど。
ですよね。もう脅かさないでください。私また間違えてしまったのかと怖くなってしまったじゃないですか。
The girl wags her finger like a mother admonishing her child. She seems genuinely upset with me for having worried her. Yet even so, her smile never fades, nor does her warmth emanating from her. An apron draped over her kimono. Coming to greet me and calling me master. That must mean...
すみません。もしかしてここのお手伝いさんですか？
The girl answers my question with a smile.
さあ、お疲れでしょ。遠慮せずに上がってくださいな。秋葉様がお手すきになるまで今でおくつろぎください。
The girl motions for me to follow her and begins walking. We move towards the hallway on the east side of the lobby, next to the giant staircase. I seem to remember that the parlor is just inside the hallway. I follow her quietly, call out to her and ask her name, get the urge to explore the mansion. Well, let's ask her name. I decide to call out to her and ask her name. I can't just be calling her Miss Housekeeper the whole time.
すみません。名前を聞いていいですか？来たばかりで、今のうちの事情がよくつかめなくて。
I call out to her. The kimono-clad girl looks at me, surprised.
琥珀と申します。このお屋敷で遠野家のご当主様に仕えさせていただいております。
The girl, Kohaku, gives a slight bow and a smile. It's a lovely kind of gesture, somehow evocative of a bud blooming into a flower. Oh, okay, that's kind of a gross way to describe it, but all right. The girl leads me to the parlor. The parlor looks so much fancier compared to what I remember. It's like seeing it for the first time. Either I'm just too used to how things were with the Arama family, or they've made this room even more extravagant since I was last here. Regardless, this place feels like someone else's home. I look around the parlor restlessly.
借りてきた猫ちゃんみたいですね。お気持ちはわかりますが、どうぞ楽にしてくださいまし。ここは四季様の家なんですから。
そうですよね。
Flustered, I lower myself onto the sofa. It's pathetic how overwhelmed I've become from simply returning home. The kimono-clad girl makes her way over to a cart in the corner of the room and pours a cup of tea from it. She places the cup on a tray and carries it over to me.
どうぞソチャですが。
ありがとうございます。
I can't help but feel a sense of embarrassment being waited on with such a warm smile. I think that's just who I am, rather than something that comes from living with a more modest family.
明葉様に声をおかけしてきますので、しばらくお待ちください。そうですね。おそらく10分ほどかかりますから、それまでお屋敷の中を見て回るのもよろしいかと。
いいんですか？勝手に歩き回って。
何をおっしゃいますやら。ここは四季様のお家です。勝手も何もございません。あ、いえ、でも2階はちょっと行けませんね。明葉様がいらっしゃいますから。1階でしたらお好きにご観覧ください。四季様にとっては7年ぶりのお屋敷ですもの。懐かしくて胸が弾んでいますでしょ。
She smiles mischievously. Please excuse me. Kohaku gives a slight bow and leaves the room.
参ったな。
My mutter echoes sadly through the extravagant parlor. Do I stay here sitting nervously? Or do I take a look around the mansion? Well, of course I'm going to look around. I mean, why would I just stay here? I'll stretch my legs. 10 minutes. 10 minutes, huh? Maybe I'll take a look around if I have that much time. I should have time to look around the east wing, at the very least.
ここにいても緊張するだけだしな。
I rise up from the couch. I think I remember the rec room had a billiards table and a dartboard in the west wing.
おや、戻る前に立ち寄ったのだが、先客がいたとはね。
A voice calls out the moment I step into the lobby. I turn to the giant staircase to find a strange man dressed head to toe in black. I mean, him dressing in black is not the concerning thing.
こんにちは、四季君。塔の邸にようこそ。というのは間違いか。君の場合、お帰りというのが正しかった。
The man, who, based on his voice, I'd assume is in his 30s, descends the stairs calmly. There is not a trace of color on him. His entire body is wrapped in black bandages. Yeah, that's the thing that I would point out rather than he's wearing all black. He looks like he's stepped straight out of a mystery novel.
あなたは？
ん？覚えていないのか？
You're covered in bandages. How the hell would I remember you?
ああ、そうか。私だよ。佐伯ゴートだ。君が子供の頃に何度か顔を合わせたことはあったが、このなりではね。覚えていても一致はしないだろう。
Psyche? Was there a branch family with that name? More importantly, this man.
構わんよ。キーの視線には慣れている。
Oh, really? You don't say.
私は事故で顔を焼いてしまってね。ずいぶん前からこうでもしないと出歩けない体になっている。日の光は特に厳しい。明葉にも煙たがられているが、こればかりは仕方のないことだ。彼女にも責任の一端はあることだしね。
Goto Saiki gives a self-depreciating laugh as he lifts his left hand up to shade his eyes. The glare from the skylight must be too bright for him.
しかしまあ、よくも帰ってこられたものだ。君のことだよ、四季君。牧久の言いつけを破って屋敷を抜け出した結果、くだらない事故に巻き込まれて脱落した。脱落。そう、脱落だ。君は ご両親からの投資を投げ捨て、自らの義務を放棄した脱落者だ。にもかかわらず、こうして屋敷に戻り、秋葉の兄として振る舞おうとしている。
Yeah, I'd be firing your ass about right now.
そんな自分が恥ずかしいと思わないのかね。
I resist the urge to confront him. The contempt in Gota's eyes is obvious, but there's no reason to escalate things further. Besides, he isn't wrong.
おや、反論はないのかな。
ないですよ。義務を放棄したのは事実ですから。でも脱落者とか投資とか家族の話にそんな言葉を使うあなたこそ恥ずかしいとは思わないんですか。
家族の話だからこそ的確な言葉を選んだんだがね。養育は一族の将来への投資だ。市政の人間はともかく、選ばれた血筋、尊い家系において個人の自由は存在しない。自由、いや、自意識と言ってもいいな。それらは成人した後、一族を背負えるようになって初めて獲得できる権利のはずだ。君は遠野の子でありながらそれを理解していなかった。秋葉とは似ても似つかぬ三流だ。まあ一度地に落ちていながら帰ってくる高顔さだけは一流と言えなくもないがね。そう睨むな四季君。今のはただの客観論だよ。私個人の評価じゃない。誤解させてしまったようだが、私は君の帰還に反対はしていない。どちらかというと賛成派だし、そもそも遠野家現当主の決定でもある。よそ者である私にどうこう言えることでもないだろう。
Boy, he talks about knowing your place, but he doesn't seem to really do that. An outsider? He isn't part of the branch family?
佐伯家は祖父の代から遠野家とは対等の付き合いをしている。現代風に言うとビジネスパートナーというやつだ。今日は商談に来ただけでね。長引いてしまったが、色良い返事をもらえて上機嫌で帰るところだったのさ。ああ、この陰気な姿でせっかくの帰郷に水を差すのも忍びない。今日はこの辺りで失礼するよ。
Yeah, get your ass out of my home. It's my mansion, damn it. The bandaged man, Goto Saiki, passes by me and walks towards the entrance, all the while his lips curled in a sarcastic smile. I bite my lip thinking of the word Saiki used, failure. He's right. The word describes my place in this house perfectly. Regardless, I should go back to the parlor and calm down. I'll walk around later. I don't want to ruin my first meeting with Akiha in 7 years by feeling like this. The girl returns exactly 10 minutes later.
四季様、何かお気に障ることでもありました？
She must be able to tell that Goto Saiki's words have affected me.
いえ、なんでもないんです。ちょっと気をされているだけで。お茶ありがとうございました。美味しかったです。
まあ、お上手ですね。こちらこそお褒めいただきありがとうございます。
She smiles bashfully, brightening the room.
と、それより本題ですね。お待たせいたしました。秋葉様のご用事がお済みになりましたので、執務室においでください。
We ascend the large staircase in the lobby to the second floor. Akiha's office, the heart of the Tohno family. I was never allowed to enter Makihisa's office when I was a child, a room occupied by each generation's family head. And that room now belongs to my sister. In stark contrast to the bright white of the parlor, the office is colored a dark red. Luxurious curtains line the windows. A deep crimson carpet, immaculately kept, is placed on the floor. The refined air to the room is thick with a sense of history. This is where Makihisa Tohno once presided as head of the family, and now it's where Akiha will carry that burden forward.
四季様をお連れしました。ご苦労様。仕事に戻っていいわよ、琥珀。はい。それでは失礼いたしますね。
Kohaku gives me a slight bow before exiting the room. The only people left in the room are myself and two girls I don't recognize.
お久しぶりですね、兄さん。
The dark-haired girl casts a dignified gaze at me as she speaks. My head is blank. The gears in my brain have stopped turning. All I manage to do is nod and agree. I'm pathetic, though I suppose it may be understandable. She looks so different from how I remember her.
兄さん、何かこの部屋に不審な点でも？
The black-haired girl narrows her eyes as if she were measuring up a stranger.
いや、
Nothing coherent escapes my lips as my mind struggles to catch up. I'm still trying to figure out if she's really my sister or not, even though she's clearly already accepted who I am.
話には聞いていましたが、本当に体調が不安定なんですね。時間は無駄にしますが、私からの話の前にお休みになられますか？
She frowns. Her words seem to have more bite to them than I expected.
いや、体調はそう悪くない。アキハがあんまりにも変わってたんで、びっくりしたというか。
7年も経てば変わります。ただでさえ私たちは成長期だったんですから。それともいつまでも以前のままだと思っていたんですか、兄さんは。
いや、それは。
I stammer, crushed under the weight of her quiet ferocity. I feel bad. After all this time, it hadn't even occurred to me to think about how Akiha may have changed. I had only thought of her as the little girl who used to follow me around. The last 7 years haven't only been hard on me. I'm an idiot for it to only now sink in that she's right here in front of me.
面目ない。正直考えが足りなかった。でも、それにしたってアキハは変わったよ。昔より格段に美人になった。
Clearer words finally filter their way out.
ありがとうございます。兄さんは以前とあまり変わってはいませんね。
Akaha speaks coldly, her eyes closed. Well, I had expected something like this. She must resent me for leaving the family. A silence falls over us as we take a second to study one another. I was unable to say anything worthwhile to a sister I hadn't seen in 7 years. Akiha stares at me with a guarded expression, inspecting me as if I were some intruder, though to her I very well may be.
まあいいでしょう。体調が良いのなら話を済ませましょう。今回の移転について詳しい事情は聞いていますか？
いや、詳しい事情は何も。いいから屋敷に帰ってこいって話だけだ。親父が亡くなったことは新聞で知ったけど。
It's not at all surprising that the death of someone presiding over a massive conglomerate would make the business section of most papers. We live in a world where a son, disowned by his family, learns of his own father's death on the internet. The news reached me after his funeral had already happened, like I was a complete stranger.
申し訳ありません。お父様のことを兄さんに知らせなかったのはこちらの失策でした。
Akiha lowers her head quietly. Her hair is beautiful, but that's not important right now. My wording was the problem here.
そこは気にしなくていいんじゃないかな。俺が言ったって死人が生き返るわけでもないんだ。逆に 親戚筋に合わなくて助かった。
I can't imagine they would be kind to me.
そうですか。そう言っていただけると私も少しは気が楽になります。
I'm lucky to have such an understanding sister. A funeral is an occasion that offers closure to those unable to accept the passing of a loved one. My relationship with my father ended a long time ago. I have no obligation or desire to attend something like that for Makihisa. I hadn't once thought about how I'd say goodbye to him.
でもそうなると誰が俺を呼び戻したんだ。親父の遺言ってわけでもないんだろ。
兄さんをこちらに呼び戻したのは私の決定です。いつまでも遠野の長男が有馬の家に預けられているのはおかしいでしょ。どんな欠陥があろうとあなたは遠野の人間なのですから。
I accept the word defect without a second thought. My father used it often. It doesn't bother me anymore, and if anything, she's right.
お父様、遠野牧久が亡くなった以上、遠野の血筋は私と兄さんだけです。血は守られなければいけません。お父様がどのような考えで兄さんを有馬の家に預けたかは知りませんが、そのお父様もすでに他界なさった身。理由が定かではない以上、当の指揮をこちらで監督するのは家族として当然のことでしょ。
Akaha's words are quiet but firm, as if she were shutting down any possible objections I could have before I even raised them.
監督するか。じゃあもし遠野の家に帰ることを拒否してたらどうなっていたんだ。
そんな自由はあなたにはありません。有馬の人間にも本家からの決定を拒む権利はありません。私も兄さんも遠野家に育てられたものです。少なくとも成人し社会的に自立するまではあなたは遠野家に隷属する義務があります。
Makihisa used to say the same thing. Parents are responsible for raising their children and preparing them for society. Just like any good business, a family can't be sending defective products to the market. It would only serve to harm their good name and degrade society as a whole. An individual unwilling to remove such a product has no right to be a parent, and a child unable to bear the responsibilities given unto them has no place in the family. Makihisa Tohno spoke of this many times to Akiha and I, almost like it was more for him than us.
親父の口癖だったな。じゃあ俺を呼び戻した理由は単に。
She cuts me off without any consideration for her poor brother, disowned by his narrow-minded father.
どのような経緯であれ、あなたが遠野家の長男だからです。それ以外に理由があるとでも。
Just another day of cleaning up loose ends for the head of the Tohno family.
理解していただけて何よりです。言うまでもありませんが、私の発言は遠野家当主のものとして受け取ってください。戸籍上ではあなたは私の兄ですが、この家における上下関係はまた別のものです。兄さん、私はあなたを兄として尊重しますが、同時にこの家を預かる者としてあなたを遠野家の財産として扱います。7年前のことは忘れて、私たちは当主とその家人であることを肝に銘じてくださいますよう。
Akaha speaks without emotion. This is a command from the head of the household rather than my sibling. It carries an air of cold detachment. But
それはそれでわかりやすい。はっきり言ってくれた方が俺もすっきりする。
this is the natural way of things. There's no reason for me to be offended.
私の言葉を理解していますか？私は兄さんより上の立場でそれを承諾しろと一方的に宣言したつもりですけど、
分かってるし文句はないよ。だってどう考えてもこの扱いになるだろう今の俺は。むしろ7年間好き放題に生きてきた俺に妹としてきちんと礼を取ってくれる明葉に感謝してる。けど明葉の考えは別にして親戚の連中がよく納得したな。俺を有馬の家に預けろって言い出したの確か親戚の人たちじゃなかったっけ。
そうですね。ですが今の当主は私です。親戚の方たちの進言は全て却下しました。この件に関して意見を挟むということは私にひいては遠野に逆らうことだと明言しましたから。
I'm stunned. Even Makihisa wasn't able to ignore our relatives, but Akeha was able to persuade them? No, if anything, she probably argued them into submission. I see. Akeha has grown in more ways than one, and as her brother, it's a little terrifying.
兄さん、ぼーっとしたお顔をされていますが、何か。
ああ、いや、感心したというか、感動したというか。
当たり前です。そうでもなければ兄さんを呼び戻せないでしょう。話を戻します。兄さんには今日からここで暮らしていただきますが、ここにはここの規律があります。今までのような無作法は避けていただきますから、そのつもりで。
おそりゃ無理だよ、アキハ。今さら俺がお行儀いい人間に戻れるわけないし、戻ろうって気もないんだから。
いえ、何があろうと戻っていただきます。子供じゃあるまいし、試す前から泣き言は結構です。それとも私にできたことが兄さんにはできないとおっしゃるのですか？
Akeha shoots a frigid glare in my direction. It pierces through me like an icicle. There's no doubt about it. 7 years worth of resentment is finally being blasted my way now.
わかった。できるだけ努力はしてみる。
努力はするですか。都合のいい返答ですね。努力をすれば誰であれ報われるとでも。私が求めているのは結果だけですので、そのつもりで。
I'm unable to form any kind of response in the face of her ruthless assault.
いいです。兄さんは今まで自由気ままに暮らしていたんですから、すぐに生活を正せとは言いません。最短で1週間、最長で1ヶ月の猶予を差し上げますので、どうぞ死ぬ気で努力してください。
I don't think I'll be getting any more time after that. This must be how Akeha makes compromises.
ですね、そこまで無茶な話ではありませんから。現在、屋敷には兄さんと私しか住んでいません。うるさ型の親戚筋がいては兄さんも落ち着けないでしょうし、私も煩わしいので人払いは済ませました。
Wait a second. Had them leave? Then
お前、屋敷に居候してる親戚全員追い出したのか？
I didn't even realize that was possible.
ええ、どうぞお気になさらず。家と財産を失いながら何の努力もせず、お父様の温情にすがっていただけの方々です。遅かれ早かれ屋敷から出て行ってもらう予定でした。使用人たちも大部分に暇を出しましたが、私と兄さん付きのものは残しましたので問題はありません。
いや、問題ないってありすぎるだろ。そんな勝手をしまくったら次の親戚会議でやり玉にあげられるぞ。
もうつべこべ言わないでください。 兄さんだって屋敷の中に人があふれかえっているより私たちしかいない方が気持ちは楽でしょ。
She's definitely right about that.
いやでもだな、本当にそれでいいのか。親父だって親戚の意見には逆らわなかったのに、そんな暴君みたいなわがままを通しちまって。
そうですね。だからお父様は兄さんを有馬の家に預けたんです。けれど私、子供の頃からあの人たちが大嫌いでしたから。これ以上どうでもいい彼らの小言を聞くのはごめんです。
ごめんですって、秋葉。
ああ、もういいから、私なんかの心配は結構です。そんなことより兄さんはこれからのご自分の生活を案じてください。いろいろ大変なことになるって目に見えているんだから。
Akiha says this curtly, forcing the conversation into another direction.
状況はご理解いただけたとは思いますが、兄さんはまだ有馬での暮らしが抜けきれていない様子。ま、それもいいでしょう。そのための使用人です。この先わからないことがあったらこの子に言いつけて。翡翠。
Akiha, without turning, calls the girl waiting at the back of the room. Oh, what, do all the maids look the same? What the heck? The girl named Hisu takes a step forward and gives a bow. It's a polite, though emotionless bow, like servitude made manifest.
この子は翡翠、うちの使用人です。これから兄さん付きの次女にしますが、よろしいですね。
So she's another one of the housekeepers. Wait, what?
次女ってつまりその。
わかりやすく言うと召使いということです。
I don't believe it. Both Akiha and the girl look like nothing out of the ordinary has been said.
ちょっと待ってくれ。召使いとか大げさすぎないか。自分のことぐらい自分で面倒を見れるっていうか。
食事の支度や洗濯もですか。
Akiha's sure on point.
ともかくこの屋敷に戻ってきた以上、私の指示には従ってもらいます。有馬の家ではどう暮らしていたかは知りませんが、これからの兄さんは遠野家で暮らす遠野家の長男なんです。
Lots of hot waifus. Well, originally it was an adult game, so, sort of makes sense.
相応の待遇は義務として受け入れてください。
My gaze wanders over to the girl clad in maid attire. Hisu shows no emotion on her face. She looks like a doll as she returns my gaze.
それじゃあ翡翠、兄さんを部屋に案内してあげて。
Oh, Hisui? Oh, that's going to take a while to cement in my head.
この人は右も左もわからない子猫と変わらないようですから、この広い屋敷でいきなり迷子にならないようにね。
Oh, most of them are flat. Well, there are different standards of beauty when this game was made.
かしこまりました、秋葉様。
Well, when the original game was made. Obviously, this is a remake. Yeah. Hisui bows to Akiha and walks towards me quietly. She looks towards me, but her gaze is fixed in a way that ensures our eyes don't meet. Her steps are measured, but far from slow. I can tell she's done this for a long time.
あ、それと兄さん、長男といえどこの屋敷では禁止された事柄、立ち入ってはいけない場所があります。それを犯したりすることのないように。翡翠には兄さんのお守りも命じてありますから、翡翠の進言にはできる限り耳を傾けてください。
それおもりじゃなくて監視役って言わないか。
兄さんが規則正しい生活をしてくだされば、翡翠もそんな役割から解放されます。それではまた夕食の席で。
Akiha must be busy if she can't spare any more time than this.
お部屋にご案内いたします。四季様。
Oh no, sorry. I'm not located in Korea. At least not yet. That's next year. Right now, I'm still in America. I do broadcast on Seoul Up Live, though, so, I mean, there's a Korean audience there. I will show you to your room, Master Shiki. Hisui moves towards the door, paying my obvious confusion no mind. Business purpose? Not really, no. I mean, sort of. I'm not going there totally for pleasure. I sigh as I leave the office. We make our way back to the second floor lobby. The lobby splits the Tohno mansion into two wings. It's like a giant bird in flight. Yeah, I mean, sort of traveling. I mean, I'm going to make permanent residence there. So I'm leaving, this country, and I'll establish myself there. I mean, there are lots of reasons, but and they all kind of coalesce into being in that country. Extending its wings far in both directions. Oh, it's like a giant bird in flight, extending its wings far in both directions. Each wing is roughly the size of a small hospital. I vaguely recall that the building is symmetrical, with the same number of rooms on both sides.
四季様のお部屋はこちらです。
Instead of descending the stairs, Hisui continues along the walkway overlooking the lobby, towards the west wing. I guess that means my room is on the second floor of the west wing. The sun has already set outside. Blue carpets line the hallway, extending in either direction. The uniform white walls bring a castle to mind. The maid walks down the hall, lit by warm orange lights. Yeah, it's fairly complicated, but yes, there are a bunch of reasons for me to end up there. But a lot of it has to do with just not wanting to be in this country for my entire life. Yeah, I mean, it's a privilege that not a lot of people can afford. I mean, obviously leaving your country, you either do it when you're really young, and you just jump into it, without a really good plan. Like a lot of people do that, because it's it's not necessarily super expensive to leave the country anymore. At least if you're in America. But that being said, I mean, I am getting tired of the scenery here, and it would be nice to just go to a different part of the world and experience life as a different society. Not too far different though. South Korea shares a lot with America, but it's still very, very different. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's difficult to leave your country, and most people never really have to. I mean, most people never have to leave their city in their lifetime. But if I can afford the opportunity to go to someplace else, then I'm going to take it. No filter between brain and mouth here.
四季様、何かご質問でも。
いや、ただの独り言だから気にしないでくれ。
Oh, it's okay to be a bit high this time of the night. Well, actually, it might be super early in the morning for you in Germany. Yeah, I think a lot of us more nerdy people like we really like the idea of Japan, since it represents a lot of our media. If you're watching a lot of anime or playing a lot of video games, then Japan is represented pretty well there, right? So yeah, I can understand the fascination of going there. I grew up on a lot of Chinese media, so like the most interesting places are actually in China. However, South Korea has had a bit of a glow up over the last 10 years. And since they're the technology that they're growing in happens to be the same field of work that I'm in as well, it just makes sense for me to be there instead of staying in America. Yeah, overall, East Asia is fairly popular at this point. Again, it sort of helps that so much of the media that's being presented, TV shows and dramas and movies, those are kind of coming to America, and the whole world, not just America. They're kind of becoming more in the spotlight to the rest of the world. Yeah, Thailand isn't bad. It's a good country. I mean, everywhere you go, they're really good people. You may or may not agree with the governments, running the countries, but you never really run out of good people. Asui gives a slight bow after glancing at me and continues walking again. Colombia is on my bucket list. I do want to visit there. A lot of countries in South America. I'd love to visit. I mean, everything I've seen from Colombia has been very nice looking. I don't know what to say. And that's not the first time since returning to this mansion. The floor is made with expensive teak wood, a ceiling that must be at least 3 meters high. I think I can see a sunroom further down the hall. The room Hisui shows me to isn't where you'd expect a high schooler to live.
俺の部屋ってここ。
はい。ご不満がおありのようでしたら、違うお部屋をご用意させていただきますが。
いや、不満なんてあるわけないけど、
It's way too fancy for me.
シキ様。
いいんだ。なんでもない。
Yeah, rich is probably not the right word for me. I mean, I'm middle class in America, so, but I don't have very many expenses since I'm just a single person, and I don't really spend that much money at the end of the day. So I've kind of been planning for a long time to be out of the country. So I've saved up a lot in order to be away. But I'm also old too. I mean, after a number of years, hopefully you've saved up enough money that you can travel a little bit now in your more twilight years.
喜んでこの部屋を使わせてもらうよ。
Yeah, I mean, to me, I either run into people that can leave the country and live as vagabonds, when they're very early in life in their 20s, or I'll run into people that are in their 50s and 60s and do that. So, seems like there's that in between portion from whenever from your 20 to 50. It seems like you're just building up yourself, right?
はい。お部屋は7年前から手を加えていませんので、不自由はないと思います。
Yeah, and at the end of the day, a lot of the places I want to visit are East Asia, so it makes more sense for me to be in East Asia to visit than it would be to live in America and try to visit all those places. I I think the word poor is relative, right? I mean, if you live within your means, that's totally fine. Or if you live like a little bit, more than your means, that's also fine too. I mean, it's a different situation for you. Like I said, you have a you have a kid, so your lifestyle is going to be dramatically different than mine. Does that mean...
ちょっといいかな。ここ7年前は俺の部屋だったとか。
そう伺っておりますが、違うのですか？
Isui tilts her head slightly. I feel a little better. So, she isn't completely devoid of emotion.
まあ言われてみれば確かに。少しは覚えがあるし、きっとそうだったんだろう。
This doesn't feel like my room at all, but I guess that's what happens when you've been gone for 7 years.
けど、やっぱり落ち着かないな。今朝まで4畳半の部屋で暮らしてたからさ、高級ホテルに泊まりに来たみたいだ。
お気持ちはわかりますが、どうかお慣れください。
Yeah, I mean, I'm from a dirt poor family. So, you know, we came as immigrants to the United States and with not much. And all growing up, we had we had adequate resources, but not a lot. Certainly not what anybody would consider middle class. Certainly below that. It was only through, really, it's only through my schooling and some luck that I managed to get myself into middle class. But yeah, no, I did not grow up with any money. The farthest we could travel was driving to Disneyland. No flying involved. I definitely couldn't afford that.
シキ様は今日から遠野家のご長男なのですから。
まあ、そうだね。せめて外見ぐらいは笑われないように頑張ってみるよ。
Yeah, I relate more to my poor upbringing than kind of where I currently sit. So I sort of live like I did when I was younger. Like I never got out of some of the habits. But it's okay. There's a lot of things that you appreciate if you've come from a poor family and go into it versus being from a pretty well-off family and then go into your life being poor. That is definitely a different situation, which I thankfully don't have in my life. I set my bag on the desk and stretch. I'm still a bit overwhelmed by everything, but I don't have much choice other than to just get used to it. At the very least, I need to be comfortable enough to relax in my own space.
それと、昨夜のうちに届いたお荷物はすべて運び込みましたが、問題はありませんか？
いや、別にないけど。あ、なんか持ち込んじゃいけないものでもあったとか？
いえ、お荷物が少なすぎるようですから。必要なものがあればご用意いたしますので、どうかお聞かせください。
そっか。いや、とりあえず足りないものはないよ。
Yeah. Single parent's very, very difficult. I hear ya. I'm actually kind of surprised that I never raised a family. I think that's what I thought was going to happen to me. But circumstances just didn't allow that. Yeah, especially this day and age, with living expenses being so high across the world, it's very difficult to raise a child on your own. I think a lot of people do it, but yeah, certainly very difficult. And if you don't have like a good support system, good series of friends, or people that are maybe able to give you a break, then yeah, it can be rough. I totally hear you.
もともと荷物は少ないんだ。自分の荷物って言ったら、そのカバンとこのメガネと。
Well, yeah. Well, if you're only 23, it's definitely a rough time for you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Especially at that age, it's sort of, you're just establishing yourself, so it's sort of hard to kind of get your bearings. I mean, I think you really only come onto your own, at least for most people. Well, I don't know how it is in Germany, but I know for most people, like if you're like a single parent raising your child alone, and you're not, again, you don't have like a good support system, then really it's like maybe in your 30s, kind of early 30s, that things sort of fall into place better. But yeah, being that young, it's rough. Things do get better though. The only thing in my bag are textbooks and a white ribbon I've kept for a long time.
ともかく荷物のことは気にしないでいい。こんな立派な部屋だけで十分だ。
かしこまりました。では、1時間後にお呼びに参ります。
You were 19 when she was born. Okay, so you became a dad pretty early in your life. Well, I mean that used to be the normal, right? It used to be considered normal to have a child, maybe in your late teens or your early 20s. I think nowadays people wait a little bit longer to have children. But I mean, the circumstances for you having a child, may or may not have been, well under your control. So, I don't know how intentional that was or not, or things just happened the way they happened. Yeah.
1時間後ってもしかして夕食？
はい。それまでどうぞおくつろぎください。
Isui says, devoid of emotion, as seems to be her usual. But now my problem is how to kill an hour. It's just past 6. If it were yesterday, I would just play with my phone or watch some TV in the living room, but I can't see the mansion having a place for people to get together and wind down.
きつい。つまらないことを聞くけどさ。この屋敷にテレビとか通信回線とかあるの？
テレビと通信回線ですか？
Isui narrows her eyes ever so slightly. Even asking the question gives me a headache. Asking about modern luxuries in a decadent old-fashioned mansion like this seems wrong.
今にはありません。西館には娯楽室がありますが、こちらは鍵がかけられています。先日まで逗留なされていた皆様は私物を持ち込まれていましたが、出立される時に荷物はお持ち帰りいただきましたので、残ってはいないと思います。
And we don't need to get into it, I mean, it's totally okay. But yeah, I see your circumstances are not easy, for sure.
秋葉が追い出した親戚筋か。逗留って誰がどのくらいしてたんだ？
I see.
久我峰様のご長男とそのご家族の皆様が1階に士官の3部屋を。
Yeah, you don't need to say anything more. I think I understand you. If you say your parents are very religious, I mean that could be good and bad. It doesn't sound like it's super good for you though.
東崎様のご三女とその婚約者の方が2階に士官の角部屋を。木島様のご長男が1階東館の1部屋を。皆様3年ほどお過ごしになられました。あとは確か先代である牧久様の主治医様が屋敷に逗留されていたと聞いています。
3年もか。なあ翡翠、そういうのって逗留って言うんじゃなくて居候って言うんじゃないか？
Isui doesn't answer. Her position as a housemaid must prevent her from voicing her personal opinions about the guests. Regardless, if they've taken all their belongings with them, I can't expect to find anything I can use. Makihisa hated any kind of modern convenience, so I can't imagine he would have even allowed them access to the internet or a TV. Akiha must have taken after our father.
ないからって別に死ぬわけでもないか。
Yeah, that sounds like something some very religious parents would do. If nothing else, I still have my phone. I take it out of my pocket and check the time. It's silly to think I was actually worried I might not get service here. It may not be much, but I'm relieved to have at least some way of connecting to the internet. I'd expect it to be stuck without one, considering how out of this world this place is. Meanwhile, Hisui is silent. I don't know if it's just her trying to be professional, but Hisui doesn't speak unless it's necessary, or she's asked something. Not being used to having a personal attendant, it's a little unnerving. I'd like to try and make her smile somehow, but it's not going to be easy.
確か1階の西館の方に書庫があったっけ。暇な時はそこから何か見繕うことにするよ。
Oh, okay. I mean, the session's almost over. These videos can't run more than an hour, because that's the limit TikTok gives me. But yeah, I mean, if you I'll play some TFD after this, and so that'll be how the evening close out. So I'll be back as well. That being said, why don't we stop it here? This is meowmurai. You've been watching Tsukihime, a piece of Blue Glass Moon running on Nintendo Switch 2. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.